Hi everyone and welcome for this brand new tutorial about the Descent project. If you don't already see them, don't hesitate to take a look to the video introduction of this project. You will see all the different turnable of the different miniatures included in that box. And to be honest, the sculptures is insane and the production is just perfect. So I'm going to paint today the wolf. I decided to paint it in white, and by the way I'm going to use a lot of contrast paint just to have something more easy and more by the way I use a lot of contrast paint on this tutorial just to have a simple and easy way to paint it. So you will have more painted mini on your board game. And by the way, don't hesitate to come and support me on Patreon, so you will have access to a tutorial to improve the level of paint of this wolf. And let's go for the paint! So let's go on a primer in beige from Army Painter, but you can apply a white primer. We are going to start applying some contrast paints. The contrast paint is going to go into the recesses and let more large surfaces more clear. Just as a quick reminder, the primer is just here to be sure the paint is going to be fixed on the miniatures, because if you do directly on the plastic, the painter will not stay in place and will be pretty easily moved just by your hand or anything else. So it's something pretty lightful, and I just apply it like a very thin layer. If you don't know how to do, you always have a tutorial on this channel how to proceed if you want to prime your miniatures. So I use a synthetic brush, it's important, and I use some contrast apothecary white all around the miniatures. It's pretty easy to apply. You can take it directly from the bottle and apply directly on the miniatures. Just for you to know, I paint the 3 different miniatures in the same time, just because during the process I'm going to apply this color on every one of the miniatures, and when I will finish the last one, probably this one will be pretty dry, so I can continue in that way for the next step. When our paint is totally dry, we are going to apply once again some contrast Space Wolf Grey, but at this time we are going to focus at the end of the different parts of the miniatures. Just for you to know, I just fix my miniatures on some base with some blue tack in order to be sure I'm not going to apply my hand on the miniatures. That's all. You can apply on all kind of elements. That can be some cork elements, that can be some all kind of elements you can put blue tack on and have this in hand very easily. You can always remove a few the paint you apply with just by applying just water with your brush, so you can take back a few of your light by removing this dark color. And now I'm going to do the same things, but with some Basilicum Grey at the end, once again, of every of my different surfaces. And after, just with the few color I already have into my brush. I come back with this few color between my color I actually put and the previous one. We are going to use some snakebit laser on all the base of my miniatures. It's going to be our first color, which one is going to compose the base. So I choose to apply this brown just after I apply the black on the foot of my wolf, just because the brown is less covering than the black. So the color, even if I reach a few my black parts, it's not going to stay and to be really visible. So if it's not really visible, it's not going to create some mistake of color. And now I'm going to start applying on a classical palette. You can use all kind of palettes. Some matte black from Army Painter, and I take a more basical brush and apply all around the base just to have something pretty clean and totally black. The way you are going to see that one layer can't necessary, two layer can be necessary just to have something pretty covering and clean. I love to do that just to have a better visibility on all the piece, and the black for me is a perfect color for that. But if you want, you can apply some brown, some all kind of color depending on your pleasure. And just remember, a lot of time when I use one color, I'm going to do that on all the miniatures of one board game, just to be sure to have something clean everywhere. So here is the result after my contrast is applied. This is already ready for battle, so you can play with it pretty easily, and that's pretty cool to have life on your miniatures. But I'm going to show you some few steps to evolve and to have a better result at the end. For that, I'm going to use some sky gray from Aka, and I'm going to come back on the fur to create more contrast. I dilute my color, you see, and I just take a few on my brush, and I'm going to apply on the part which takes a more light. And now I come back with some few yellow on the eyes, just like that. With the end of my brush, I take some classical paint and I apply into the eyes. And now with sky gray, I come back on the teeth, and all the end. Depending on the intensity you want in the eyes, you can come back and make multiple layers and reduce the surfaces to create some transition. And now with some black green very diluted, I'm going to apply on the base a few. On the part we are going to have some elements who look like grass. I'm always trying to have 3 different colors on my base, just to have something more natural and more alive. It's not necessary, but I think it's always a good thing. And now with some beige from Aka, I come back on the scale just to have a little bit more volume and be sure we can see it more easily. And don't hesitate to apply different layer to have a little bit more intensity into the beige on the scale. And here is the result for this pretty tabletop miniatures, pretty quick to do for Descent. Don't hesitate if you start painting your Descent board game to start with these miniatures. They are very simple, easy to paint and pretty quick, so it's a perfect challenge for beginner. By the way, if you want to support me and if you have any kind of question, by the way, don't hesitate to subscribe, to comment with your question or just with some good words. That's always welcome. By the way, you can always support my work on Patreon and you will have access to a video specific to push the level on these miniatures to have something better. Whatever, if you have a beginner or not, if you have the motivation, you can do something better, always. And huge thanks to all of my boss on Patreon. And this guy is awesome and helped me a lot to create more and more content for my channel. Don't hesitate to join us on Patreon to have more and more content. See you soon for the next tutorial. Bye bye!